10 years ago I would have thought that most Satanists would agree with my take on gun control, which is basically that I'm pro-gun. I'm pro-gun, but I'm not like pro-gun to the point where I'm like, passing guns out in school or hanging them in kids, Christmas stockings. Like, no. I am pro-gun, though. I do believe that each citizen probably in general, regardless of the country, should have the right to protect themselves and bear arms. That the right does not come. You're not born with that right. You need to earn it. There's definitely. I'm also for, keeping guns away from criminals. I'm also for even tighter gun laws to keep violent felons away from guns, or guns away from violent felons, however you want to look at it. Now, you notice I use the word violent because there are a lot of felons out there that are not violent. It's not too hard to catch a felony these days. And, unless you are caught and prosecuted or tried, or unless you've committed a crime using a firearm, I think you should be able to have the right to own a firearm. Now, I understand both the sides of this debate. I understand that, there's the guns don't kill people, people kill people, which is true. It's also true that guns make it a lot easier to kill people. That is true too. What really is killing people, though, isn't the guns. It's a lack of education and lack of awareness. Guns have been so demonized by the liberal media in the last 20, 30 years. No wonder why people are terrified of guns. People would not want a gun in their house because why? They're scared of guns. For good reason, because they're ignorant. They don't know how to shoot a gun. They're not educated on a gun. All they see is this hype about movies is always portrayed as guns killing people, robbing people, hurting people, whatever, right? So it's obvious that they'd be afraid of it. And I think once people learn to shoot guns, and I think that should be a recommended thing in school. Gun safety, whether you want to own a gun or not, gun safety should be like a requirement in school, like driving a car. If you want a license, well, that doesn't actually make sense, but you know what I'm saying. It should be a requirement, and yeah. You'd be surprised though. Today, it's like a lot of Satanists are just like anti-gun, and it's just like non-violent. And guns aren't the violent thing. And the thing is like, if I own or have owned many guns, and if I knew that everybody else would throw their guns in the ocean, everybody, not just people, but also police and also military. If everybody were to dispose of their guns, I would gladly throw mine in the ocean too. I do believe the world would be a better place without guns, right? Problem is, it's never going to happen. So if we rid the average citizen like you and I of guns, right, make it impossible or illegal for us to own guns, then the only people that are going to carry them are going to be police, military, and criminals. Because criminals are not going to give up their guns, period. So I don't want to be at the mercy of the military, the police, and the criminals without the means to defend myself. That's what it would come down to if we disarm this nation. Now, I know you can look at other nations like some European countries, right, that have very low violent, crime rate. And they have, have practically no firearms. That is true under certain nations, right? Small nations that would never had guns, right? So these statistics are very skewed. And the bottom line is, you should have the right to have an arm. You should have a right for a firearm unless you lose that right because you've committed a violent act with it, or did something really stupid with a gun. That's it. I'm just amazed at how many people this new wave of liberal Satanists that are just like, oh, it's a gun. Ooh, that's bad. It's like, no, it's not. The bad part is people don't get the education that they need. I respect people's right to not own firearms. That's fine. But I want them to respect my right to own firearms. And if you're trying to take my right away from owning a firearm, then there's a problem. Because I'm not trying to take your right away from not owning a firearm. It always works like that, doesn't it? All right, that's just my 2 cents. I almost forgot to add, because I know somebody's going to ask. The guns that I either currently own or have owned, no particular order, would be, the one by my nightstand would be the Glock 22C. 40 caliber Smith & Wesson. One in the bathroom or whatever. It was the SP-101 357 revolver, 5-nose snub nose. Maverick 88 12 gauge, SKS Chinese model. The other two I can't tell you about. But yeah, not a huge amount, but enough that if shit hit the fan, I'd be fairly okay for a little bit anyway.